This is History as I Remember It, where I pick a maybe random subject and quickly try and remember everything I can about it. If you've come here for facts, you've come to the wrong place. But if you like getting the gist about a thing that may or may not be accurate, then let's get this party started. Today's subject, Iran-Contra. Where is Iran and who are the Contras? I got it. I'm going to choose to leave the door up for this background because I think it looks better. So if you thought I didn't know what I was talking about with my history of Atari, you will be impressed at how little I know about Iran-Contra. But first, to start this off, I'm also going to be sitting down for this party because when the cold winds do blow, so do come the rickets, and I cannot stand up under my own power for very long. Iran-Contra was a scandal in the 80s, and it involved Reagan and paying Iran through the Contras, which I'm not quite sure what a Contra is. I'm not sure if it's some sort of Arnold Schwarzenegger-like dudes who were buffed and machine gunned up, and they probably weren't in Iran. They were probably somewhere else. I'm gonna say South America, because that is a plot line, right? So some sort of scheme where it's like you're not paying somebody directly, you're paying a person or entity that is benefiting from you winning. So it's probably one of those things where it's like you pay me back by paying somebody who I owe or maybe I want to support, because if I support them, then they will owe me. That's what I'll assume. But let's go back to the 70s before we even talk about the actual scandal, because it started in the 70s, I'm pretty sure. There was a uprising mid-70s where the Shah, that was like the US appointed leader of Iran, was overthrown. Probably had it coming, probably was really corrupt, and as a result, the Ayatollah came in, and it was the reverse of what you normally think of when you think of like uprising and liberty. It was a conservative uprising, like extreme conservative uprising, and also an anti-American uprising. And there's a hostage situation. I'm going to assume that this is all connected. I say it with such confidence until I tell you that I don't know what I'm talking about, that there was a hostage situation, and whether or not it had to do with the Olympics, I know there was this thing at the Olympics, but it could have had to do with an embassy. So this is taking place in the 70s. Jimmy Carter's president, and Jimmy Carter is negotiating to try and free the hostages, and people are saying, oh, just bomb Iran. And presidential elections happening. We're gonna really jump forward now. Jimmy Carter is not elected, and on the midnight strike of whenever, when was the election? Like December 1980, or was it 1979? I feel like it was 1979 into 1980. So literally, strike of midnight, 1980, hostages are released. As soon as Reagan's elected president. Let me just bring that plot point back in there. It's Jimmy Carter was going against Ronald Reagan to become president, and Ronald Reagan won. Spoilers, Ronald Reagan becomes president, and literally the minute he becomes president, hostages are freed. That seems awfully coincidental. It makes sense that they would be negotiating something for hostages. The fact that Ronald Reagan becomes president and then hostages are released, I believe, is the link to Iran-Contra, in that the Reagan campaign made a deal with Iran that if they freed the hostages, that Ronald Reagan in power would give weapons or maybe money for weapons to the Contras to do something that probably is beneficial to Iran. And now, how that works, I'm not 100% sure. Like, how could Iran help Reagan win? I mean, money, yeah, but it seems to be like a thing like, if I win, I will do this for you, but you have to release the hostages. Now, releasing it on midnight is very, very, like, obvious. Like, I don't understand that. You think it would be like, oh yeah, we were talking for a while, and we talked it out, and look, I did what Carter couldn't do. But it was like on midnight. It was like, boom, like right away. So, I don't know the deal with that. But basically, I'm gonna say years later. I'm gonna say it took like 4 years for this to come out, because in the 80s, everything moved slower than it does now. you could keep a secret for years and nobody would know about it. That's the way it used to be. Now, like, you can't keep a secret about anything. But back in the day, it was considered breaking news to figure out what somebody did 10 years ago. So 1984, I'm gonna put that on the map. 1984 is when the scandal broke. And there was very little consequences for it. As far as I know, I mean, you know, I was a baby at the time, barely alive, just like existing. Like I was born, and then Iran-Contra happened. So I was not purview to any of this. I have no real memories about it, but it seems like there were no real consequences for it. I mean, it seemed to be business as usual. So what that actually meant in terms of like a scandal, I have no idea. Is this the end of this video? Is there anything else to say about Iran-Contra other than like, yep, you got him, and then everything was normal? You know what I'm willing to bet happened? Wait a minute, before we close this off, I'm willing to bet that some people went down for it. Like, obviously, there's gotta be people taking the fall. So, it was probably like a thing where it was like, oh, so-and-so, whoever, you know, bleh, like, throw them under the bus. I'm sure that's how it went. I'm sure somebody went to jail for Iran-Contra. Somebody. There's somebody in jail, probably right now. I don't know. There's pardons and stuff happen. I don't know. I feel like Iran-Contra is one of those scandals, like Teapot Dome. Like, what's the deal with Teapot Dome? What does it mean? I don't know. That always felt to me like I would see Iran-Contra and Teapot Dome in history books, and they are nowhere near each other. You got like 1920s, somebody does something. 1980s, somebody does something. Me from the 90s, I don't know what any of this is, but it sounds memorable. I'm just gonna end this video right here. I don't think there's anything else to say. Maybe this is a little late, but I'm not even sure if it's pronounced Iran or Iran. Is it Iran or Iran? I don't know. Is this a hot button situation? Why did I do this video? Because I just thought of it. Now I'm like questioning, like, is it too soon?